New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. Now get a savory sausage McMuffin with egg, plus hash browns and a small coffee for just $5.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
This episode brought to you by the following patrons: Heather, Min, Jason, Madeline, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Kristen, and Tia. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group, where we'll be hanging out and talking about issues daily.
This movie violates one of my biggest rules in my life, which is never follow a mortician to a second location. Guy has more coffins than Costco.
Paige, I'm 100% sure there's only 3 of them for that last shot.
Right.
Because they're literally all the same coffin.
Well, but they all look different than the 3, so I feel like they had one rotator coffin. And wait, we should save this for the actual episode.
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't go deep on the mortician lore yet.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your email technical support, Todd, which means
Thank you.
that I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, Paige made us watch
Tales from the Hood. Yes.
Sorry, the technical support thing was because...
It was just for us.
Yeah, Paige and I had to troubleshoot her email this morning.
Yeah, well, by troubleshoot, we mean, why isn't this working? Is it just not working? It's not working. There we go.
And then it did the thing where you call a second person to witness the thing you think is broken.
Yep.
And it immediately starts working again.
Yep. You motherfucker.
Anyway, Paige, tell me what you thought about Tales from the Hood. And was it the first time you saw it? I'm going to assume no, because you grew up in the Bay Area.
That'd be a good assumption, but this was the first time I'd seen this.
Okay, me too, but I grew up in Nashville. Like, it makes sense that they didn't talk about this much. It's like we talk about this movie as much as we talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. It's like that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, not talked about much in the South.
This was a well-known movie that I had never seen, right? Like, I had heard about it. I'd never watched it. And when we started doing the show and like people were voting for it for listener request, it came very close multiple times.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to like spoil it for myself before, but after watching it, I was like, damn it, we should have done this earlier. Like, this was fun, dark, a lot of emotional and like political, cultural things being said in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
But it is kind of the perfect mix of, I would call them modern morality tales with real fun horror, practical, and stop motion elements.
Paige.
Yes.
I lost my mind when we got stop motion wooden. I don't know. That doll specifically looks a lot like Will Smith to me. Like,
I mean,
of the time, kind of like Independence Day era Will Smith.
I thought it looked like Candyman.
I could see that too, but like they all had distinct vibes. Like all the dolls had distinct vibes.
Every doll was different.
But that one specifically, I was like, yo, Fresh Prince gonna cut this dude. And I loved that we got like 5 minutes of smaller Chucky.
Yes.
Like I was here for it.
I was here for that.
It asked the question, do you think you could beat 50 2-foot dolls or one 4-foot doll? Like that's the question this movie asks, comparing it to Chucky.
I was thinking about this, and I think it's an economy of scale. And honestly, I feel like the smaller dolls, I think, were harder because they're like harder to find.
Oh,
because like
Paige.
There's a whole section of that vignette where it's just like footsteps, and he's like, "Where the fuck are those dolls?" And there's like, he cannot find them.
100%. This is going to sound insane. That question is exactly the same to me as asking, would you rather fight one raptor or 50 compies?
Oh.
Like, I'm probably going to choose the one raptor because at least then I can see all of my opponents.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right. Yes.
I'd die either way. I'm not living through it, but, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a white guy from the South, and that guy definitely deserved to die. I hated that.
He had it coming. I was so happy to see him die.
I mean, yeah. Paige, my one note about this movie is, gee, I can't wait for 2 white people to talk about this in a public forum.
You know what?
I'm like, we are the worst people to give commentary on this movie, but we're going to do it.
I mean, my commentary is there's a lot of people in this movie that had it coming, and it felt
Yes.
very cathartic to see them get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
But I would say I was impressed by the level of, like, we have stop motion for like 50 dolls for 2 minutes.
Paige, I thought that too. I was like, damn, this was 95. I mean, it looks like stop motion. It's not Pixar level, guys, you know, but for 95, I was like, damn, that's kind of good.
It looks very Leica Studios, like that kind of stop motion.
Yeah.
But they literally, that would have taken so much time, so much effort, so much money. And like, they literally use it for 2 minutes. And I was like, committed.
Yeah.
They are committed to this.
Yeah. Also, David Allen Greer being like a bad guy
Holy
and not
shit.
funny and nailing it.
Oh, he's fucking terrifying in this.
And I actually kind of liked that because he is not like a big, imposing Hulk of a man, you know?
Right.
He doesn't have the look of a monster.
But the way they shoot him.
Yeah, when he walks in, they shoot him like he is. You know what I'm saying? But even when he's standing next to, that's his sister, right?
I think it's his girlfriend.
I don't know. He calls her Sissy, which I guess could be her name, right?
Yeah, I think it's her name.
But I couldn't understand their relationship because it's very clear when she opens the door for the teacher.
It's very violent and not romantic at all. Yes.
Well, yes. Yeah. But when she opens the door for the teacher, he clocks like 3 things immediately. And that is,
yes,
she's a smoke show.
Right.
She's just out of the shower.
Right.
And she's single because she clarifies the miss part. And I was like, this guy's, he's smart. He's here for a purpose. He's great.
Maybe it is brother and sister.
But he's smart. He's figuring out right now, hey, are you like single? And I get it.
I read it as stepdad, but like maybe I am wrong. I don't think it matters either way.
It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
And it could be like stepdad. It could be the stepdad and she's just trying to like
get out
of a bad situation, you know?
Right.
And honestly, I do think the teacher, I'm not saying they should be together, but maybe they should. I mean,
the teacher has demonstrated that he's a good dude that will go the distance for people he believes are in trouble and cannot defend themselves. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying she should give him a look. I mean, it might not be a love connection, but like he seems like a good guy.
I feel like every one of these stories starts out in what you think is going to be a very preachy morality tale way. And then at the end, they're like, spoiler, Stephen King kind of shit in this.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, shit, okay.
It is kind of fun. It's not really scary, which I appreciated.
Sure.
The only thing that I was scared, if this was, how scared are you to talk about this in a public forum? It would be way higher on that scale than it's going to be on the scary scale for me. But I kind of enjoyed it.
I loved it.
In a very Freaky Tales kind of vibe. That's the reason I made the Bay Area connection.
Yeah.
Because it feels like Freaky Tales is obviously paying homage to this kind of stuff.
Yes, because of the vignette.
And I actually love, okay, yes, it is a series of vignettes.
Right.
But I really love that the narrative device that is keeping us going, the mortician stuff,
yes,
is kind of its own vignette too.
Becomes its own part of the story, yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I love that. That's a cool little twist on it.
I loved the ending. I was like, yes. I feel like in watching this, I saw things that I feel like inspired so many other movies that we've done. Obviously, I think Freaky Tales definitely has, definitely pulls from this.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see a little bit of Get Out in here.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit of They Cloned Tyrone. You can see a little bit of all kinds of stuff in this movie.
A little bit of the Warriors. There's some, it's all over the place. Yeah.
All over the place. But I feel like that was really interesting of oh, as a white person, this was maybe not part of my film lexicon growing up.
It should have been.
It should have been, right? I somehow missed it.
And then a conversation with your parents about, are we the baddies? And then them being like, we have been historically speaking, but there are things we can do moving forward to
sure,
not be going forward.
I think it's just because my parents don't like horror movies.
Oh, I didn't watch this movie when I was a kid for probably much darker reasons. That's kind of my point. We didn't talk about this kind of stuff much.
Yeah.
And I grew up, because I grew up really poor, most of my kids in my neighborhood were Kurdish because they had come.
Right.
This is one of the places that they settled when the genocide happened. And so I grew up around communities that probably did talk about this, but I never saw this. It never really came up. And I'm sure it's because I lived in Nashville. or in the South, you know?
Probably. Yeah, I think we missed this because my parents didn't watch horror movies. If they had, we probably would have seen this.
Yeah, that's a much better reason to miss it.
Yeah. But because I missed it, it was wild to now think about like, oh my gosh, this is a movie all of these other directors and people would have seen that has probably inspired parts of those movies that we love, which it was wild to like, it has come full circle. I don't know if you know, my parents are taking a film class together in college right now.
What?
My parents retired and immediately went back to college.
What?
And they're just taking whatever.
I love that so much. That's like, Paige, no joke, my dream. I would love to like just give it up and like become a handsome billionaire and then go and learn all the shit that I actually want to do with my day. Like, oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I can't because I got to make other people rich.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know. Well, and it's really funny. Every time I like, kind of like razz them about it and they're like, Las Positas is the #1 transfer school in the country. I was like, are you guys planning to transfer? And they're like, no, but
Bro, I heard your dad was being recruited for a D1 school or whatever. I don't even know. I don't know what that means, but I've heard that said.
But yeah, so they are in Intro to Film together. And the final movie they're watching. Now, the film class they're in is designed to be like accessible for everyone so you don't have to buy textbooks.
Oh, great.
So all of the stuff is like streaming and whatever.
Amazing.
But that means that it's a lot more modern film.
Wait. Are you just describing YouTube? Like, are your parents just watching stuff on YouTube, Paige?
No, I mean stuff that's like available via streaming services as opposed to like when I went to film school, I had very expensive books and stuff.
Yeah.
But the final movie they're watching for like their last 2 weeks of class, like the culmination is Get Out.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, what a wild, fantastic world where now that movie's taught in schools. But that movie was probably inspired by this movie.
I bet there are aspects of it that inspired it. Yes. Yeah. I mean, specifically like the re-education one, I think is very, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's the sunken place.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
And you can tell that because when they arrive at that like facility, everyone's still dressed in prison garb except like the lab assistants who I would describe as just sexy.
Yes.
Like they're like leather pleated like skirts. Like what is happening in this place?
That was one of my favorite. There's some things like that through this whole movie.
I laughed out loud and it's just them walking in front of like the people walking into the prison.
The scene itself never sexualizes them or anything.
At all.
No one even comments on it.
I just laughed. I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
And they're dressed like Power Girl. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's great. I also really kind of love that the narrative device that holds all of this together is like a flip of the your drug dealer who just like is so talkative and wants somebody to hang out with so bad because it's 3 drug dealers who are like dealing with a mortician who's doing that to them. Right. It's so funny to me. Because the mortician is more or less doing like a TED Talk for every vignette, and they're just hearing the story, and we are seeing the story, right? Right. And as I say that now, it's a mortician doing it. It should have been a Ded Talk, but spelled DED.
Oh,
in my head, I didn't think of that joke until I was halfway through the sentence that came after it. I apologize. But I loved that narrative device.
Yeah, if every vignette was an episode of The Price is Right, this would be like trying to buy weed in the 90s. Just like, oh yeah, no, just one more thing. Like, I think Bob Barker's really going to spay those animals.
Hey, you want to pet my lizard?
Yeah. Oh yeah, whatever weird pet.
It's shit like that, yeah. Blowing like secondhand weed into the lizard's face. Yeah. Just like that kind of stuff.
Hey man, you can't have ferrets in California. Like, come on.
Mine definitely had a ferret, so
they always have ferrets.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird generalization to make, but like if I went to, and this doesn't happen now because I live in a city where you can order weed like pizza, but like back in the day, whenever you had to like buy weed from a person, it was never a person that was like super normal. It was always somebody that you're like, cool, so you have multiple iguanas. How's that going for you? Like, it's that.
He's like, how else can I work iguana into conversations?
Oh, how can you?
You got to have at least 2.
Captive audience. Yeah.
I also love that the cops on the first vignette page are so evil.
Oh my
God. That
their
car refuses to turn over for them right away.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, guys, maybe you should die.
Right.
And then when Martin pops up in the window, I think that it scared the car and the car was like, okay, we'll go.
Right.
Because it was just protecting itself.
When that vignette started, I was like, oh, this is super dark and sad. But then when Martin starts going after the cops, I was like, never mind. This is great. Like, rip his head off. Like, let's go.
You feel terrible for Clarence. Like, I hated that story for the Clarence of it all.
Sure.
But yes, when Martin is getting revenge, you're like, yes.
Yeah.
It's actually, Paige, maybe we should just get into going to the movie scene by scene because that's like the first vignette. So let's just jump into it.
Let's get into it. So we open, literally there's like only a handful of credits and then we are in the story and the credits keep going. So Todd loves that.
I do.
Out the gate.
I hate that I do, but I love it.
Thank you, Rusty Cundiff and Spike Lee for that. But it's a lot of credits over like bones and shit. And it's a like who's who of people who would be famous later that are almost unrecognizable in this film just because they are so young.
I mean, yeah.
There's multiple names in the credits. So you're like, oh. And then at the end of the movie, you'll be like, where were they?
Yeah, who was that in the movie?
Who was that in the movie? But I do love that it ends, like the small amount of credits we get end on a skeleton smoking with a gun. And I was like, hell yeah.
Well, it's also got like a bandana and sunglasses on. It looks kind of awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks rad as fuck.
I don't like skulls and like bones. Like that's one of the like Halloween decorations I don't really want up around the house. It's like a whole Todd's very afraid of death thing because
okay, that makes sense.
It's like a whole thing I have to deal with in therapy, I'm sure.
You're gonna I think Bone Temple's gonna be a little rough later this month, man.
Oh, I'm actually okay. Kind of looking forward to that because I mean, we'll see, but I kind of looking forward to it.
I'm super excited for Bone Temple.
But like, I would definitely have this if it was a Halloween decation. That's what I'm saying. Like this skeleton looks dope as shit. I was into it because it's like smoking and it's got like it looks great. Yeah,
like smoking and a gun. It's great.
Yeah.
But we see a car pull up in front of what we will find out is the mortician's funeral home. 3 guys get out, guns drawn.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like, and it does say Sims Funeral Home. I thought to myself, not a business I would rob. I think resale on any like loot you would get is tough. And I don't think funeral homes carry cash. So immediately I was like, why are they robbing this place?
Paige.
This seems questionable.
Paige, clearly you have not thought this through to the level of detail I have.
Hit me.
Because when I saw this, I was like, oh shit, this is real smart. It's like pre-grave robbing.
Right.
It's all the grave robbing, but no diggity.
None of the digging. Okay.
No
okay.
doubt.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of smart to rob them pre-dig.
Right. Right.
Genius.
Yeah. All of their like wallets and like jewelry and stuff. I guess in my mind, those were all removed by the time they get to the funeral home, but I might be wrong. You could be right.
Can I tell you a dark family secret?
Go for it.
The setup for that is way more like dark than it actually will end up being. But when my grandmother died, by the way, I was like 8, and my granddad, who was, still lived on after her, they put a Book of Mormon under her hand on her chest. And my granddad joked that was the only thing they left for the grave robbers. And it made me laugh as like an 8-year-old. He was kind of a very funny guy. Anyway, it was also kind of dark, but like...
He's like, just like we put it in the hotels, we're going to put it in the graves just in case.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Anyway, his name was Homer.
Now the big thing is they make jewelry with like your dead loved one's fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah, Natalie has a ring that has her dad's fingerprints on it. Yeah, it's really sweet. I love that.
I have a necklace with my grandmother's fingerprint on it, and my mom
That's awesome.
bought them without telling us that she was going to do that.
Yeah.
And then gave mine to me, and I was like, oh, thank you. And then I had a really upsetting realization of how they get those fingerprints, and I was like, wait a second, do they? And she was like, yeah, don't think about it too hard.
Oh, I thought it was from like, her record. Granny's record.
It's not.
From that time when she was in La Cosa Nostra?
Yeah.
Paige.
Look, they needed a lady to cook to keep them up and running. But like when my sister came over that same night my mom gave her the necklace and she was like, wait, how'd they get her fingerprints? And my mom just went, oh, the hand's in the freezer. And it was not, but the horror on my sister's face was worth it. But yeah, to get those fingerprints, they do take appendages off and then like inject them so they're fuller because, dead, and then take the fingerprint and then cremate the rest of the body. So
Great.
there you go.
Great.
Enjoy your necklace.
Yeah.
I do. It's very nice to have. But
I think it's really sweet. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
so grateful that Natalie had it because her dad and her both have the same pinky. Let's just say it that way. So it's like a
Okay.
really sweet connection. Anyway,
oh,
it's really sweet.
that is very sweet. Anyway, they get to the door and they're all like not super jazzed on going in. They know they have to get the shit. They're just calling it the shit. We don't know exactly what's going on. We will find out momentarily what's happening.
Yeah.
But they're like, this place seems evil as hell. Like, I don't want to go in. And eventually they ring the doorbell and they're like, you should be more afraid of Lil Mo, who I assume they owe these drugs to outside of this. We'll find out later that it doesn't matter. They are dead.
Yeah, they're already dead. But yeah, I think that's like the pretense in which they're arriving at the front door of hell
Right.
under. Yeah.
Right. So they come inside. But we do get discussions where they're like, hey, if any dead fuckers come after you, kill them again. And they're like, why would we do that? They're already dead.
Yeah, they're already dead. They're immune to it. Like they've already passed over that. Yeah.
Right. Well, and they're like, it's a refried-beans scenario. And it's one of those things where it's just like a small amount of dialogue that I was like, this is hilarious. And this is absolutely the screenwriter to themselves being like, if a dead fucker tries to get you, shoot him. Why would they fucking do that? I don't like.
Yeah.
And then it just like kept writing it of like, well, I guess they're already dead.
I do love when the mortician comes to the door and is like, oh, don't worry. You'll get the shit. You'll be knee deep in the shit. I was like, hell yes. If that's the vibe, hell yes. And it was the vibe.
His delivery is at 200.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
entire movie, and I love it.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
I love
that
it.
dude's acting's at a 15 easy. Like, it's definitely at a 15.
100%.
And I got no notes for it. I loved it.
Not a single note, because it's the perfect like creepiness of the perfect amount of distracted drug dealer making you listen to stories before you get your drugs. But then also the like creepiness of it of like, he'll be knee deep in the shit. And you're like,
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh hell yeah. When he said
no.
knee deep like that, I was like, oh, we're in good hands for this.
yeah. Well, and my favorite is like, he comes out and like when he opens the door, one of the guys turns to run, hits his head, and they have to go inside to get like an ice pack.
Yes.
And they're like ice packing his head with a cool old ice tray. I always love when those are in movies.
That was kind of cool.
The metal ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they're like, he now has to sit there with an ice pack and they're like, great, thank you. Now that you've gotten ice for our friend. They pull the guns and they're like, where's the shit? And I was like, you're still robbing him? But like, for some reason, that made me laugh so hard.
It was
the
very
idea
funny,
that
yeah.
they were like, can you get him a Band-Aid? And then can you get us the shit? Oh, that was so good. But again, he's like, I'm a mortician. You'll get the shit. You'll be knee deep in the shit.
Yeah.
And this is when they're like, you know, okay, what does that mean? And he's like, so much, I couldn't even carry it. But look at this, man. And like opens the casket in front of them. And he's like, this was Clarence. I'll tell you about it unless you're scared. And they're like, can we just get our drugs, please, man? Like,
And they're also like, no, we're not scared, but like, this is weird. What are we inside a vignette style movie? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, that's what this is. Boom. Cut to Clarence. Actually, we don't cut to Clarence. I think we cut to Martin.
yes, sort of. Because he's like, Clarence went crazy. Do you want to hear his story? Great. And then Clarence like wakes up in the coffin.
That's right.
And it's his story now.
Right.
And Clarence is a cop. And we literally, and this is something this movie does, like for all that we're laughing at some of the fun parts of it, something this movie does incredibly well with every single vignette is we start immediately where we need to be,
Yeah.
knowing everything we need to know. And they are contained stories that make sense and have no plot holes. And like, that's usually a problem with vignettes is there's like one vignette that's stronger than the others, or like,
Yeah.
you know, some of them are contained stories and others are just vibes. Like even Freaky Tales has a little bit of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
but this, they're like full contained stories, like written well with a point to each story.
Very much.
So,
yeah.
very much. So Clarence is a cop and we meet Clarence literally as his patrol car and his partner, which his partner is driving,
Yeah.
arrives at a scene where two other cops, white cops specifically, are hassling initially a man that they have seemingly pulled over in a nice neighborhood because they think he does not belong.
Right.
Right? Already, these are bad cops.
Yeah.
bad cops. And initially Clarence is like, hey, I don't think you got to hassle him that much. Like, let's just, we'll check his stuff. And they're like, why don't you go back and check the license plate? And he does.
Yeah.
Which means that he's kind of missing what's happening.
Yeah, I think out of all of the cops, he shares the least blame for the murder that happens, Like,
right.
He literally is in the car.
Right. I would say his crime is trusting the other cops.
Yes.
When he shouldn't have.
100%.
Right.
Well, and not saying something, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
We'll get to that. But the other cops are beating the shit out of that guy.
Yeah.
And as they're doing so, we're getting a little bits of exposition of like who this guy is. So this is Martin Morehouse, who had been trying to root out corruption in the police force. And even as they're beating him up, he says, he's like, I have nothing against good cops.
Yeah.
But if you're A, covering for bad cops, and B, actively selling drugs in the community, you're bad cops and I got to take you down. Like, morally, I have an imperative. And it goes from them hassling him to literally beating him almost to death. They put his head through a window.
Yeah.
And it is very important to note, as this is all happening, the song Strange Fruit is playing in the background.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, in case you didn't notice, they're gonna murder this dude and it's not okay. And this is the price of white supremacy writ large over the years, right?
Yeah.
And so Clarence gets out of the car too late and is like, oh my God, that's Martin Morehouse, because he has now seen it on the license plate.
Well, yeah, he looked him up on the computer,
Yeah.
right? So he knows, yeah.
But he's like, holy shit, you have beaten him basically to death. We got to get him to a fucking hospital.
And Strom,
Yes.
which I'm sure they named him that for a very Strom
Yes.
Thurmond-y reason.
Correct.
But Strom's like, yeah, well, we got to take him to the hospital. That's what we're going to do. Like, clearly not going to be doing that.
Not only is Strom named Strom, Clarence is named Clarence.
No, I know.
Yeah, like, if you're familiar with your Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they're like, we'll take him to the hospital. He's like, okay, but you got to take him like right now. And that's his biggest mistake, is letting them take him to a hospital.
Yeah.
That man is never going to get to a hospital, because what would the cops even say once they brought him there, right?
He tripped.
This man is about to be murdered, right?
Yeah.
So Clarence and his partner drive away. And his partner's like, hey, you can't be hassling cops. Cops work hard. And like, yeah, I guess that maybe you had some sort of feeling about that guy, but like, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And like, you don't want to ruin policing for everybody. And you're like, whoa, hey, no, because this system is broken. This is not good.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, his partner more or less explains that, like, why cops suck.
Right.
It's like, hey, like, listen, we're not here to protect the poor. We're here to protect the rich's property. So, like,
Right.
if you interrupt us from doing that, you might get killed by one of us, is kind of the vibe.
He does threaten him. He's
Yeah.
like, it might be you next time, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other two cops drive that car and Martin Morehouse's car to the docks, where they give Martin Morehouse a hot shot.
Oh, yeah, they shoot him up with probably heroin or whatever they had on them.
Probably enough to OD.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever.
Well, I thought that was just to make him pass out.
Yeah.
And so that when they pushed him, or not pushed, but like drove the car into the river or lake or whatever it is, he would die from drowning,
Right.
And they do plant like a lot of drugs in his car.
Yeah, they plant a lot of drugs on him, which, like art imitating life.
Yeah. But I mean, they do that to not just kill him, but also ruin his reputation, because he was going after the cops, So it wasn't just about assassinating him. It was also a character assassination.
Right.
Like,
you knew, like our government did to a lot of Black Panthers and
Yes.
Martin Luther King.
Yes,
exactly
100%.
like that.
I'm not saying it's not accurate to history. I'm just saying that I think it is pointing that out.
100%.
Yeah.
So they kill him. We fast forward a year, and it's not immediately clear that that's what happened. They do it kind of stylistically.
It's not. We don't even know that until Clarence says it's our anniversary. And then you're like, oh, some bad shit's about to go down. Yeah.
Bad shit's about to happen. Because what we do see is Clarence kind of wandering and drinking and being very upset. And to be honest, in his shoes, I would carry a ton of guilt for what happened. Because he knows that they never made it to the hospital, and their story of like he didn't want to go to the hospital is bullshit.
It's not even that he knows, Paige. He's obsessed with it. Like, the article of him dying and the way the media believes it happened is on his wall.
Right.
Like, he pinned it up on his wall. He's obsessed with it.
Right.
And in a very, like, I really messed up here kind of way. Like, so much guilt involved.
Right.
And I get it, but man, he is... I mean, we come to find out he like quit the force. He doesn't seem to be having another job.
Yes.
It seems to be his only focus is honestly killing the cops that did this at the behest of Martin. And I kind of love that for them.
And here's the thing, because like the movie shows us the supernatural thing of what happened.
Yeah.
I assume what the cops view later is that he just murdered these people.
Oh, that's what it says. Yeah. Cause
Also don't hate that.
Yeah.
But he is like walking on the street drinking and stops in front of a Martin Morehouse mural.
Yeah.
And is hearing voices of like, bring them to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I will. So we cut to him sitting on one of the graves in the cemetery. We cut to him sitting on one of the graves in the cemetery.
Yeah.
And he has called the cops there, specifically his former partner and the other two cops.
I do love that he is sitting on a grave when they arrive.
Yes.
And then he's like, hey, we got a second grave to go to. And I was like, you never follow a former cop to a second grave location.
Right? But this is also one of those things that I was like, I think I have seen another movie that pulled from this, where in the movie Blind Spotting, Bay Area favorite, character witnesses a shooting and harbors guilt of like the PTSD of seeing it and considering their own mortality within that.
For sure.
And then as they go running every morning through the cemetery, they see people who have been shot in police interactions standing behind their graves. And it's like a consistent thing where it's like he sees one and then multiple. And then by the like end of the movie, as we're like crescendoing the story, it's the entire cemetery.
Yeah.
But I was watching this, I was like, oh, that's where this came from, I think.
I mean, they're definitely pointing it out.
Yes. But so he shows up and they're like, hey, man, why are we here? You're clearly drunk. You have a bottle of alcohol here. And he's like standing on the cop car and is like, it's the anniversary. Don't you remember when you guys all killed a guy and I watched it? Meaning I'm your loose end.
I mean, he is.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, fine. If we go to the grave, will you drop this? Will you leave this alone? And he's like, of course. Absolutely knowing that that's not how this is going to go down.
Well, for them, I honestly don't even think he cares if he dies.
I don't think so.
You know, he seems like he's over it.
I think he's over it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think he knows that they would probably try to kill him to keep him quiet, which is why he did it this way.
They definitely do.
Right? And that is their plan. Like, he walks over to the grave and they're like, we're going to humor him for a few minutes, but then we're going to shoot him and dump his body somewhere.
Yeah.
And no one's going to look because he has just been a guy drinking on the street for a year. So, anyway, they go to the grave and nothing happens at first. And Clarence is like, I brought them to you. Don't you, whatever you're going to do, like, I brought them here. I did my part. And Strom comes up and pisses on the gravestone.
Yep.
Which is like, dude, come on. You already murdered somebody, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's Strom Thurmond. Yeah.
Right.
That made sense to me. I was like, that's.
But then he gets Billy to do it because Billy is the other cop. And as Billy goes to pee on the gravestone, a hand reaches out of the ground and rips him down to the ground, dick first.
Yeah. And then it like bashes his head into the like gravestone
a bunch of times.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And then like drags him into the dirt. Now, at this point, Strom and the other, the partner are like, what the fuck are we gonna, we gotta think, we gotta figure out what to do. And I'm like, I guess start digging. Like, what would you do in that situation of like,
oh, you mean if I had just peed on somebody's grave that I murdered and then watched someone get sucked through the ground? I would never pee again, Paige.
I would never.
I also would run away.
Right.
But I would die probably 20 days later of acute haven't peed in 20 days or whatever you call that disease.
Right. I don't know what you call that disease, but like, I mean, yeah, and the fact that, because clearly the partner's like, run away. And Strom is like, no, we got to figure out a plan. And he's like, a plan for fucking what?
No.
Do you just see what fucking happened?
You can't fight grave halud. It came out of the ground, Paige.
It came out of the ground.
No, thank you.
Yes. And so they go to run. And like, as they're like kind of running away from the grave explodes. And the coffin pops out of it with Billy in the coffin.
Yo, when Billy was in the coffin, I was like, oh,
hell yeah.
That's a great reveal. Hell yeah.
I was like, this is about to be great.
Oh, and it's not just that. Because then Martin is holding
his heart,
Billy's heart in his hand. I was like, yes, I love it.
So they get in the cop car. They eventually drive off after Martin hits the window. Something I actually really like that they did is that Martin is chasing them, but he's just a guy. Like, he's just a zombie. So, like, they're in a car, he's still always behind them.
Yep.
Like, they cannot escape it. You can never escape what you did. It will find you.
Yeah.
Right?
It will haunt you until it kills you.
Right. Whether in this veil or the next, it is going to get you. And so he's following the back of their car. He does get them to like crash across like a trash can because he keeps appearing like in front of them, behind them. Like,
I do love that they like try and shoot Martin at this point, and I'm like, guys, he's too dead for that.
He's way too
like,
dead for that.
That's not gonna work. He's too dead for that.
Right. He's like refried beans. Like, you've already done them once. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They shoot, nothing happens. And then he's on top of the police car, reaches, like rips the hood off.
Yeah.
Rips that guy's head off.
Yeah. He takes 2 hoods, Paige.
2 hoods. Standing on top of that cop car holding that decapitated head. And I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Second movie in a row where someone's full ass head gets snatched.
Yes. You know what? Keep it coming.
Yep.
But the other cop shoots at him and the cop car, and then the cop car it explodes for no reason.
I thought it was hilarious when it exploded because, like, okay, yes, he shoots, but the bullets are clearly hitting, like, the roof of the car.
Right.
And that is not where you would shoot it, even in movies, to have the car
Right.
blow up, but it does blow up.
It does blow up.
But the squibs or whatever is causing it to look like the bullets are hitting it are on the roof, and that made me laugh.
It's wild, but it catches on fire. Martin catches on fire. The other cop runs away through into the alley with there's a whole bunch of drug use in that alley that they have partially caused by selling drugs in the community.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they do admit that they are
Yes,
in this
yes.
movie, like in this vignette.
And he runs and like is looking and sees the mural of Martin Morehouse. And as he does, Martin Morehouse appears and like telepathies all of the syringes off the ground and uses it to pin him to the cross in the mural.
He's doing the Jesus Christ pose.
Yes.
On the cross. Yeah.
Where he then merges with the mural.
Yeah.
And it's like, welcome to my world, where you are now just remembered via this mural.
Yep.
In the horrifying place that you created. And then Clarence comes up and is like, okay, I did it for you. And Martin's like, no, where were you when I needed you? Like, that night when your buddies were killing me and you were checking the license plate. And then we cut to Clarence in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
Where the cops are like, yeah, he killed like 3 cops in one night. So he has now basically taken the blame for all of this.
Yeah.
And he is in a cell alone with his grief, unfortunately. And then at some point passes away.
Yeah, he's in like crazy person's jail. So he's like fully in a straitjacket too. It's not just like jail.
Right.
The straitjacket part of that would be maddening.
I was thinking about that where I was like, I've never been in a straitjacket, but the more I looked at him in it, the more I was like, I feel like that's an uncomfortable pose to hold for a long time.
Well, it's also just not being able to move your arms is rough.
That's what would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we cut back to the mortician and they're just like,
yeah,
cool story, bro. Where are our drugs?
Yes. This is the first time where your like dealer is like, well, but that's how I started getting into all of this line of business. And you're like, oh my God, are we starting at the beginning? Can I just get the weed and go?
I've been playing the mandolin for like 8 years. I'm kind of writing a rock opera, but people don't really respect it all that much.
Man, when am I going to get my drugs so I can go, dealer? You know what I'm saying?
Where? But they pass. And this is my favorite part of this. Is like the interior sets of the funeral home are really cool looking. They're kind of like spooky and haunted house and red and whatever.
When he pulls that curtain and it reveals the room, I don't even know if it's right here or later, but I was like, oh, I love this set.
It's here, but my favorite part is it's the same room every time. So they like walk out of a room and then he pulls a curtain and walk back into what is definitely the same room. And like that cracked me up every time. Because he's just like, and here, a new coffin. It's the same coffin. It's the same room. It all looks the same. But they all look into the coffin and we don't see the person in the coffin. They're like, what happened to that guy? And they're like, well, here's a story about a boy named Walter and what's real and isn't real. We cut immediately to Walter.
Yeah, we don't even see what's in the coffin, although we see their reaction to it, but we don't see what's in the coffin. And I loved that because then it could be anybody in the coffin, guys.
Anybody.
Yeah.
But Walter is afraid of a monster in the closet. We cut to school the next day where he has a black eye, and he's at kind of a newer school.
I think it's his first day. The teacher introduces him like it's his first day at least.
Right. And the teacher breaks up kind of a fight between him and some other students, but then is like...
Specifically a kid named Ty, and that comes back later because we get a picture of him.
Yeah. But he's like, hey, did you get that black eye in this fight? It seems a little quick for it to be bruised like that. And he's like, no, there's a monster at home.
Yeah, he was like, Ty didn't hit me in the face. This wasn't from him. This was a monster from home. And the teacher and the nurse are like, oh, a monster? Really? It's not like your mom or your dad. They clock it immediately.
Yeah, we're mandatory reporters, so we have to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and they do. I think they do a decent job trying to pull it out of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
The teacher decides to take things into his own hands a little bit because...
Mr. Garvey. Yes.
Yeah, because the kid is not saying what it is.
No. And essentially, he is trying to, I think, get the information, but also try to figure out if the kid is safe and what the safest action is to take, right?
Yeah.
How will I not make this worse for this kid? But meanwhile, at home that night, we see the monster and its claws and everything, and the door opens. He screams for his mom.
Yeah.
And the next day, he's got more bruises.
Yeah.
And he's inside at recess drawing the monster. And his teacher's like, hey, talk to me about this. This is Tyrone. This is the monster. Have you talked to your mom about the monster? And he's like, she doesn't want to hear it. And he's like, okay, well, you can draw, but after recess, let's maybe talk about this. I kind of want to talk to your mom.
Yeah.
He walks away, and as he does, he kind of knocks one of the pictures that he's drawing onto the ground, and it is the picture of Tyrone. And Walter gets up and crumples it. And then we cut to Tyrone getting into an ambulance.
We also kind of hear a distant scream of a child, probably
Right.
Tyrone.
Right.
And then we kind of get, as Tyrone's being loaded into the ambulance, the teacher and I guess another teacher talking about it. And he was like, yeah, I don't understand. He was just walking in the steps and then crumpled to the ground and fell down and broke both his arms and both his legs.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I was like, is Walter an idiot? Because he didn't immediately go crumple up the monster picture. I would have done that if I realized that the pictures I drew in that class in that moment had that power. I'd be crumpling all them bitches up immediately.
Okay, so here's my thought on that. Because the reason he has that power is the girl behind him in class told him if he did that and burned the pictures or whatever.
Yes.
He's not outside to see Tyrone get carried away.
Isn't he looking out the window? I think he's looking out the window. I think he watches it.
Maybe.
I might be wrong about that.
I was not sure that he understood the full power of what he had, but he does do it later with the monster, so I don't know. But that night, the teacher comes to his house, and his mom is fresh out of the shower, and she's kind of up on the teacher. Now, I wasn't sure if she was A, trying to get him to go away, or B, trying to get him to stay.
If you're trying to get somebody to go away, you don't do this.
Right.
I mean, she was so into the teacher, and maybe performatively, I don't know.
Sure.
But she was so into the teacher. When David Allen Greer got home, I was like, wait, are you cheating on the teacher? She is just into it. When she takes him into the kitchen and is getting the stuff off his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then she leans over
bird
to
poop.
get more. Yeah. She leans over to get more water out of the sink or whatever to continue wiping it off. She brushes her boobs on him.
Oh, she's pressed up against him. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I was like, is David Allen Greer her brother? What's the deal? I definitely needed them to have a DTR conversation quickly. That's how into him she seems to be. You know what I'm saying? And of course he's into it because she is a smoke show.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Soaking wet out of the shower and single, apparently.
Right. But he's actually, hey, I'm here to talk to you specifically. He's very professional.
Yes.
About Walter and what's going down. And she's like, what monsters? I told him to stop talking about that. He's always falling the stairs or whatever. And he's like, no, something else is going on. And then who should come home? David Allen Greer.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, this is a teacher from school. He's just leaving.
He's leaving. He's not going to be here. And he very clearly is like, no. We need to have a talk about what's happening with Walter at school because he keeps showing up with bruises and clearly something's happening at home.
Yeah.
So what the hell is happening? And David Allen Greer is like, I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's it. He says there's a monster in the house and he just goes, I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Which in my mind also was like maybe the monster. Who knows, right?
Oh, 100%. It's 100% clear he's the monster. He comes in wearing a slightly green suit.
Right.
And the monster's like skin is green in the pictures.
Right.
Like, it's very clear he's the monster, which we don't see the tattoo that actually like confirms it until a little bit later.
That says monster, yeah.
But like, I think they do a great job of like foreshadowing that on the screen. Nobody's surprised by that monster tattoo reveal, I think.
No, and one of the ways they do that is, and you mentioned this earlier, they shoot David Alan Grier knees up.
They do.
Most of the time to make him look huge and imposing, to make him look fucking terrifying.
Yeah, but when he's like fighting the teacher's actually taller than he is.
Oh, yeah.
But they shoot them differently when they're alone in their own shot, you know?
Right.
And they just shoot David Alan Grier lower.
Right.
And it makes you look more imposing.
They also, and I tried to find this for fun facts, I cannot verify. I think they altered the size of Walter's room.
Interesting.
Because when David Alan Grier comes through, he's like barely clearing the doorway.
Yeah.
And then he throws Walter against a wall and he's hitting basically the ceiling.
Okay, yeah. David Alan Grier's not that tall. I mean, I don't think he's short, but like he's not that tall.
Right? Like even if he's 6'2", like most ceilings, even short ceilings, like I live in an old house, so my ceilings are shorter. They're about 8 foot instead of 10 feet.
Yeah.
10 is normal now, but like 8. And like my husband's 6'2", he couldn't reach the ceiling. Like, he could jump
Oh, of course.
to get it,
yeah.
but not the way David Alan Grier is into the scene.
Yeah.
Right? But they escort the teacher out and he goes to the car and he's like, something is still wrong, right? Like, I don't feel right about leaving. And as he looks up, he sees David Alan Grier beating Walter in the window. And these scenes are fucking brutal.
They are, man. But it's not just Walter. I think he's actually beating up.
He's both of them. The mom as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
When the teacher sees him.
Right.
And starts going back. He does eventually beat both of them, but I think he starts with the mom, and that's what the teacher sees to bring him back to the house.
He starts with the mom, and then he goes upstairs, and we get the look through that doorway where, again, I do think maybe they made that doorway smaller.
Yeah.
Where he looks like the monster. And then is like actively hitting Walter. Mom tries to get in between. He's hitting mom even more.
Yeah.
He pulls his belt, and that's what the teacher sees from the window.
Yeah. And he is just beating the shit out of both of them. You're right. Yeah. But I love that like the teacher does get back in the house and proves that he is like definitely like an English teacher. Like he certainly ain't no wrestling coach. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because David Alan Grier kind of kicks his ass. I mean, he does try to like help though. And he's great. But like he's like an English teacher.
Right. Well, he's an elementary school teacher, so multi-subject.
Well, probably, yeah.
I get the impression that David Alan Grier has been fighting or beating up on people for a long time in a lot of situations, and the teacher usually uses his words.
Yeah.
But as the fight is happening, Walter takes the picture from the table with the monster on it and starts crumpling and like folding pieces of it. And as he folds it, it breaks the monster's arms and legs, twists his spine, and he's clearly dying on the floor from multiple fractures. And the mom is like, this shit ain't over, and stomps on it.
Yeah.
And it looks like he is pretty much dead, but they're like, no one's going to believe us. And then the teacher's like, don't worry, no one will find out anything. You know what you need to do, Walter, because this is what they discussed in the classroom, and burn it.
Yeah.
And so then he burns it. But then I kept thinking, the way that David Alan Grier's contorted, how'd they fit him in the casket? And then we like see the casket and it's just like a charred husk. And you're like, fucking yikes. Like, oh my God.
I did like that reveal. Because all we see is like them in the kitchen that they had the last fight in, right?
Right.
And then the fire coming up. And then it cuts to like the open casket and the charred remains in the casket. I was like, oh, damn, that was like a interesting reveal there.
Yes. And as they kind of back up from that casket, kind of unnerved by what they've seen, one of them knocks over a small doll. And they're like, what's with your creepy doll, man? And this is where the mortician's like, dolls can be a way station for lost souls until they can move on. I found this doll in a house in the South, and it's a pretty amazing thing. And then we cut to the next vignette.
I do love that this movie proves why you never ask anyone about their creepy doll collection.
Yeah, yes. I was in Chicago this year, and we went to a really fun true crime museum called Grave Face Records.
Oh, nice.
And they had not only probably the most Gacy paintings I think I've ever seen in one place, But they also had an entire section that was all carnival history and sideshow history. And boy, did I make a mistake by asking about the fake mermaids. We were there for like 2 hours.
Paige, of course there would be mermaids in a happy sea painting.
Right.
I'm assuming that's what you meant by Gacy.
100%. Yeah.
I hate my brain too, guys. I'm so sorry.
Fish sticks and the like.
Yeah. Guys, if you can get Gacy to paint you a picture of fish sticks, you keep that forever.
Of course.
Anyway.
They had all of his 7 dwarves paintings.
That's quite the collection. All 7?
Like many.
Are we talking final form or?
Final form of the dwarves? Yes.
Yeah.
Not once they evolve into like Raichu and...
Right. Charizard or whatever.
Yes. I was like, Paige, I don't know any evolved ones.
It would definitely be like Sneezezilla and Dopenomicon or whatever.
Dopeon.
Yeah, Dopeon. Yeah.
Anyway, we open on Duke Metger, I believe is his last name.
Yeah.
Metger for governor. And it is abundantly clear immediately that A, he is former fucking Klan, which like, if you've ever been in the Klan, you should never fucking hold office in the US. Full stop.
Yeah.
Full stop. No exceptions for anybody. Why should we ever make it? And yet people be in the government having been in the Klan or worse, or other white supremacist.
Well, some of those who work forces, Paige.
Yes, are the same that burn crosses.
I do think that this guy is an homage to David Duke, who is like the
100%.
Yeah.
David Duke, who absolutely was trying to hold public office. And to be honest, I think part of the reason David Duke doesn't hold public office is more just because he's weird and off-putting.
Yeah.
Not necessarily his history with the Klan. Because here's the thing. There are people with just as problematic histories that do hold office. They're just not as creepy as David Duke. And that's a huge problem. But at the time this movie was made, David Duke was trying to be governor. So that is absolutely why we get this vignette.
Didn't he run for president a few times too? Like he's one of those like way outside candidates that runs that you don't, doesn't really get a lot of press, but yeah.
To be honest, I think to a degree he runs every time and just people don't write him in or whatever. Because even the Klan doesn't like David Duke anymore, which like if the Klan doesn't like you, and I mean like you're one of the Klan and they're like, not that guy. Like that's how you know it's bad, right? Like,
but he's the guy who like started the National Association for the Advancement of White People. He's like that guy.
Yeah. And
that's after he left the KKK, I believe.
It is, yes.
But he was a former Grand Wizard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Former Grand Wizard. First of all, and I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet. Congratulations to Sinners for having the most nominations ever. I'm very, very happy to see that at the Academy Awards. There are some strategic awards that I am more invested in than others. We'll talk about that during the bonus episode. But my favorite thing to do right now, because like since the announcement, there's 1.5 million people online being like, I didn't see it. Is it actually good?
Yes.
And what I do is I just go to that post and then I go to the comments and I wait for somebody to do the screenshot of Michael B. Jordan that just says, y'all Klan, ? And I like those like every time to just be like, yeah, no, really?
Yeah. It made so much money. It's like surprising people missed it, like because it made so much money.
I feel like if you missed it on purpose. I have seen some posts from people who were like, I did not watch it when it came out. I've watched it now. Holy shit, it's brilliant. And I missed out. I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've taken the time to educate yourself.
Two people who are busy, we miss movies all the time that we come back and do later and we're like, man, this was so good.
Right.
So like, I get how you could miss it, but like, yeah.
This is also why I'm like, this is why I want to see Bone Temple in theaters, because like part of the reason Sinners has the legitimacy it has right now is because people did go see it in theaters and were like, this is worth the money. This is worth seeing in theaters. We're showing the industry that this is viable and they didn't trust it. They didn't buy into it, but we're using our dollar to prove that we want things like this.
Yeah.
We want original stories by different directors, people of color. Also, Ryan Coogler, don't miss. Every movie he makes is good. I don't know why people were doubting this one, but that's also why I'm like, go see Bone Temple. Like Candyman was great. Nia DaCosta's a great director. Let's make sure that she continues to get the opportunities that she has with things like Bone Temple.
Fun fact tie-in between 28 years later and this movie, Dr. Kessler provided the skull and bones they used at the beginning of this movie out of his Traeger.
Right. With the gun and everything. He's like, that's why he was smoking.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, back to this movie. He's a former fucking Klan member. He's running for office. And he has moved into a plantation home.
Because, why wouldn't you if that's who you are as a person?
Look.
Which they do make abundantly clear. Like, he is still as racist as you would expect a Klan member to be.
Right. And Todd, I know you and I have differing beliefs about the spirit world. You would never move it. That is asking for it to move into a plantation home.
Paige, if I was rich as shit, I might buy that house and do whatever the shamans tell me to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Turn it into a museum or something.
Something that honors what happened there. And so the spirits see me in a good light. And I don't even believe in that shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm not going to F with it. I certainly wouldn't live there.
No. Oh my God. That's like when Nick Cage bought the LaLaurie house. Like, bro, why would you do that? Like,
oh, you mean when his film career went from A-list to B-list and he made that shit work for him? I'm not saying it, but like that's right around the same time he went from doing like Con Air and big movies to like smaller movies.
Well, and then he had to rapidly sell it and then build his own like tomb. It's like a whole thing.
They literally go online. There's conspiracy theories about it.
It's so crazy. But that's like when I'm in New Orleans, I don't walk on that side of the sidewalk specifically for that. Like, I don't understand how people get married at plantation houses. I don't understand how the weight does not sit on you the entire time. Like, why? Why? You know what happened there. Like, what?
And Paige,
like, no.
Guess what happens a lot?
I know. And
I live.
I don't even think I could attend a wedding
Paige.
that happened at a plantation home.
Yeah.
I would feel too bad. I couldn't do it.
I'll say this. I haven't ever done that either. And it's largely because of the socioeconomic circle that I grew up with, didn't have access to the kind of money that it is required to do a wedding at a place like that, which means they're still in so demand for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're the expensive places to do it.
Well, because they're these like grand, architecturally significant houses.
Yes.
But I'm like, do you know who built them?
They're essentially mansions from like the 1800s. So like, I understand the history of it all. But maybe we shouldn't glorify that by doing like culturally significant and big life moment events there and just like paying respect to what happened on that ground, Right.
I'm like, the only reason that house is beautiful is cruel exploitation.
Yeah.
So it's not beautiful because you can't perceive it without the understanding of how many people bled and died for this stupid house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In hindsight, maybe Lady Antebellum wasn't the best name for a band.
It was not. And then when they tried to change it, they kind of bungled that too. It was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Branding's important, guys.
But this guy, the David Duke stand-in, Duke Metker, is like, whatever. Who cares? Ghosts. Shrug.
He's like watching a commercial for himself and it's like his media consultants or whatever head media director, whatever guy is like, they are giving him media training, more or less. And like literally they are videotaping video training.
Yes.
So like he can watch it back later, I assumed, and like learn the rehearsed answers to the questions. They're like, here are the questions you're probably going to get.
Right.
And so he's coaching him through how to answer those.
And his campaign director, media trainer, whoever it is.
It also just might be his campaign manager. Like, we don't know.
Right. But is black, and he's like, I'll get you the black vote. And I was like, oh, no. Like, no.
Yeah.
No. I think that's why the doll kills him first.
Hot take on this guy's death. I think he killed himself. Like, he tries to walk backwards down unfamiliar steps in a haunted house, and we see him look back and make that decision. I don't know. The doll was laying there, yes, so maybe the doll did trip him.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's 100% on that doll.
I don't know. But what we do see is, like, we see video of him talking to people outside, and there is a crowd of protesters outside that he's like, why won't they just go away? And I'm like, why won't you go away and not live in this horror show of a house?
I like that one of them is literally just like concerned for the dude's safety.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I mean, that's the guy that we kind of get some of the mythology from, where he's like, the souls of that house are going to come and get you.
He's literally the harbinger of this vignette. I don't know what else to call it other than that. He's just like, But because he is that, he is also trying to save this racist asshole's life.
Right.
You know? Which happens literally in Minnesota. Like, this happened very recently in Minnesota, where some racist guy went to have a rally there and was like getting cornered by a bunch of protesters, and a black man saved him.
Right, because he thought he was a protester, not like, I saw the video and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, nuance.
Nuance.
I don't know. So many of these vignettes, I felt, do you know in 30 Rock when Tracy Morgan is like trying to be a good employee for like one episode or whatever?
Right.
And he sits down to write his sketch and he's like, George Washington and Bob Dole walk into a bar, and then turns around and goes,
yes,
commentary or whatever.
Yeah.
I felt like that so much watching this movie, and I don't mean like in a jokey way, because they're taking the commentary part very seriously, and I think that's like the crux of the movie.
Right.
But it's so on its face in the movie too, which I don't mind, but it is very blatant.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In the same way that I love me some Inglourious Bastards, where you get to watch people shoot Hitler in the face.
Yeah.
Like, similarly, I am enjoying people getting their comeuppance. Now, what happens is after we get the introduction of that guy protesting outside, his campaign manager is like, what's the deal with the dollhouse? Why do they call it the dollhouse? What's happening? And he's like, oh, yeah, well, when they freed the enslaved peoples, he doesn't say it that way, but I'm saying it that way.
Yeah, he says it every racist way. Honestly, he says so many things.
So many slurs.
That I felt bad for the actor. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I have that in my notes where I'm like, as an actor, I don't even think I could.
Yeah. I mean, I get that it's a job and that's not like, I mean, listen, it might be him, but I doubt that the dad from Psych is this bad a dude in real life. You know, like he seems like a great guy. I don't know him, but he seems nice.
Well, here's what I will say. It is a case in which you need the character to say that for the story, and it is written by black people. So like,
exactly. That's kind of my point. Like I feel like gets a pass, you know, because he's just acting, but it's terrible shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But he basically recounts the story of when the Emancipation Proclamation went out and enslaved people were supposed to be freed. Instead of freeing the enslaved people that he had on his plantation, he just murdered all of them, which happened a lot.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Well, it wasn't like that happened a lot before then too, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And the souls never rested. That guy eventually dies a horrible death. And then a local woman who is said within the story to be a practitioner of voodoo bought the house to try and put the souls to rest. And as she did that, she made dolls of them and transferred the souls into dolls. And allegedly, they're in the house to this day. David Duke hasn't been able to find them. Searched all over, couldn't find them. The camera pans down and we see that one is under the floor.
Yeah, I think they're just like laying in wait, you know?
Right. And I do think it's wild that in the scene, he's like, I don't know what they want people to do with the house. Make it like one of those old Nazi camps. I was like, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Because like that concentration camps are now, like the ones in Germany, are now museums too. Like, here are the horrors that happened so that it may never happen again.
Yeah, you can like go to Auschwitz and go on the saddest tour of your life, you know? Like,
yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, man, when that plantation house burned like a year and a half ago, I was like, go, just rooting for the fire.
I mean, I get it. And there were so many people who were. And like, I also kind of like, yeah, it is the history of the South. But if it was handled in a way that was respectful, it would be different.
We need to be honest about the history.
These are like venue locations and stuff, you know, like it's not like it's a museum that's like honoring the time period and the sad things that happened during it burned down. You know, it's like someone's really nice house that they probably have passed down from generation to generation. You know, it's like, I understand the nuances of all that, you know?
White people getting married at plantation houses is like Nazis getting married at a Holocaust museum.
Yeah.
For real. Like that is.
Especially if you're like from the South and like grew up in it. Like, you know better, guys.
Yes.
Or at least should know.
Yes. Anyway, at this point, he's like, whatever, it's just a story. I tried to find the dolls to see if they were worth money.
I love it. He's like, whatever, it's just a story. Which I guess, like, yeah, it is just a story. But, like, so was Terminator, and that shit's gonna happen, guys.
Oof. Yeah. But they start kind of walking and filming their versions of, like, practice answers to questions. But as they leave, we see that painting of the old woman, and then the one doll on her lap is no longer in the painting.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool way to visually represent this.
I thought it was cool as shit too. Yeah.
Yep.
I also thought it was wild that David Duke, which I know that is not his name in the movie, but that's what we're calling him.
That's what he is supposed to be, yeah.
But I thought it was wild the mural was still up after he moved in. Like he would have painted over that or paid someone to paint over that immediately.
Yeah.
But I love it for the story because we do get these reveals of, well, this time it's just the one she was holding, and then next time it's like 4, and then it's everybody, and I love it.
It's everybody. I think the only reason he didn't paint over it is because he is trying to like have the appearance
of being respectful,
of being on both sides and being respectful.
Yeah.
And he does comment, he's like, the second the election's over, I'm painting over that thing.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. So it definitely is for that purpose. He also says he tried to find I'll just say dolls.
Yeah.
He doesn't refer to them that way.
No.
And then, but only for the purpose of trying to sell them, because I bet those bastards are worth a little money, is what he said.
Of course.
Which is such a like hardcore allegory to the slave trading that went on, you know?
Yes.
Like it's crazy blatant.
The only thing that could be more offensive is him selling people again.
I know. Anyway, I'm not saying that you shouldn't sell your personal creepy doll collection, but don't do it under these circumstances.
Just check if there's souls in them first.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so as they're rehearsing, they are on the second floor, and his campaign manager switches so that the future governor, unfortunately, has the camera. And then as he's kind of talking to him, he's walking backwards. He gets to the stairs, he kind of looks, and then falls down the stairs and dies.
This is where he falls backward down unfamiliar haunted steps.
Yes. Which would be a huge scandal for this guy's campaign that somebody died on his steps. But anyway, we cut to, I assume, the next day where he like is leaving and he gives a reporter the answer they rehearsed with a different ending line because he can't openly use slurs on the news.
Right. He does try and like play it off as like they're spooky reporters instead of saying what he was actually kind of pre-programmed by the KKK to say, and the media director guy was trying to work out of him.
Right. But he goes back to the house and the protesters again are like, the souls don't want him here. Like he is messing with things he doesn't understand. It's bad. As they're driving away from the funeral, the doll is in the car and he like tries to throw it out. But then we cut back to the house later. He's watching the video back and he sees that the doll is in the video and it's missing from the painting. And I love that like he's then walking around the house and he hears footsteps.
Yeah.
Because the doll is running around the house.
But Paige, they're like little footsteps.
Little tiny footsteps.
And every time I heard them, I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, little Chucky, let's go.
He eventually does, like he can't find the doll. He goes through like every room in the house.
Yeah.
He does try to stab the painting with the American flag and it bleeds. And I was like,
Paige,
symbolism.
I know. I was like, commentary, let's go.
But he does find the doll hanging on the chandelier. It jumps and bites his neck. He grabs it, pins it to a dartboard and shoots it, seemingly destroying the doll, but that doll is going to come back.
Paige, he puts both barrels into it, runs back into the mural room, looks up, and now there are 4 dolls missing from the painting.
Yes.
And he just shot both barrels.
Right.
So he has to frantically try and reload while these 4 other dolls are trying to kill him. I loved it. Because the dolls are the size of Chucky if Chucky was like an adult and Chucky bought a Chucky doll.
Right.
I said Chucky too many times in that sentence.
Yes, but I understood what you're talking about.
You kind of get the sizing of it all, right?
Yes.
But so he's got 4 of those size dolls trying to kill him, and he's like struggling to reload a double-barrel shotgun, guys.
While saying all the slurs at once.
Yes.
Like the most. This is where I have in my notes, I said, as an actor, I don't think I could do this.
I know. I felt so bad for the dad from Psych.
Hurt my soul to try and do that. But he runs back into the main room and now they're all gone from the painting. And the room is full of them. The stop motion is incredible.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that we only get like 2 minutes of it. But they all swarm and attack. And then we see that the woman is gone from the painting. And she basically just sits in her chair with the one doll and laughs and watches. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's like she's in the cock chair, but it's like for a death, not sex.
Right.
And she is cackling. It's great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. But then we cut back to the mortuary where they're like, okay, seriously now, where are the drugs, man? Like, for real. And then he's like, just one more. And again, takes them out of the room and back into the same room.
Paige, they couldn't film in multiple rooms in that mortuary.
I know.
6 feet under was filming in the other half of that building, apparently. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. But, it is funny. They're only using one room in that house or mortuary.
Only using one room. And in the beginning, in the hallway, you see that there really is only one room. So it's really funny that they keep going into what looks like different rooms.
You're like, this funeral home is not big enough for that big rooms.
Right. Real TARDIS energy.
Yeah. There's maybe an office or two, and that's it in the rest of this house. Yeah.
Yep. But they open another coffin, and it is someone they knew.
Yeah.
It's Crazy K. And we see Crazy K with his bonkers sideburns, or mutton chops, I guess is what those would be, because they kind of extend into the face.
They do progress beyond sideburns. Yeah. And they are full on muttons. Yeah.
Yes. But we see him driving. A car passes him, and he's like, oh shit, that's Deke right there. He turns around, drives to where that car parks, shoots that guy in the driveway, and then his 3 friends come out of that house and they shoot Crazy K. And then he has kind of a moment where they stand over him. They're like, how are you going to kill him? But then the cops show up and maybe those kids die. It's a whole lot of death. But unfortunately, Crazy K is still alive in the street and then is essentially probably under felony murder charges, charged with everyone's murder.
Yeah, because the cops technically come and save his life from the 3 kids who came out of the house to shoot him, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's like all kinds of bad. But he is charged with everyone's murder because of he's the instigator in it. And everyone else who was involved is more or less dead, except for the cops.
Right.
Qualified immunity for them, so unfortunately, they're fine.
Right. So he's serving a life sentence, but we cut to prison and he's in solitary. He's been in solitary for a while.
Yeah.
But we see a team of people come by and ask him a few questions, and they're like, he'll do. How would you like to be released for behavioral modification? Like, you just have to consent to modifying your behavior and then you can get out. And he was like, all right, fine. And then at this point, I was like, are we getting a they cloned Tyrone in this movie? Because kind of. It's a little more Get Out.
Yeah, it's a little more Get Out. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I also do think it's nuts the amount of sit-ups that this actor does in this scene.
That's how he got those abs.
Oh, 100%. When they started filming this, he kind of had a gut on him. They did it so many times. He had a 9-pack by the time they were done. Like, this guy's core is insane. He's just crushing those sit-ups like they ain't shit.
He's delivering lines while he does it, where he's just like, fuck y'all.
Paige, no. Yeah. Don't talk to me if I do a sit-up.
No. Anyway, so they put him in a cell. They put him in a very small cell. He can't sit up. He can't stand up. He is very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Right next to a white supremacist, a literal Nazi, multiple Nazi tattoos.
He's got literal swastikas on him. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I love killing people who aren't white. And he punches him through the bars.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are you punching me? Who did you kill?
Yeah.
Essentially.
This vignette is, I felt a way about it.
I understand what they're getting at. I feel like often when people bring up gang violence, it is to be a false equivalency.
That's what yes. Because this movie, and listen, I was so nervous talking about this because I am not qualified at all to have any take at all. But this felt to me like they were saying that the gang violence was the same as like lynching violence. And to me, the motivations there are way different. Like, lynching violence is like, I hate you because of it's like just general racism, right?
Right,
and
right.
Gang violence is sort of like, it kind of grows from the racial disenfranchisement that like is caused by the racism that society places on them. And so it's like just survival economics at play there, if that makes sense. It's like, they turned to a life of criminality because they didn't have any other options.
Right.
So that to me is very different.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not all murder. It is, but it's different motivations. And that, to me, it's like murder 1 versus manslaughter. Like, I get those are both murder charges, but.
I think what the vignette is trying to get at is they're already killing us. Don't help them.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think the point it's making is great. I just think the motivations between the two things they're equating are very different.
Yes. Well, and I feel like modern day, this is what happens every time you're like, hey, I feel like we should have common sense gun law regulation. And they're like, well, what about gang violence? And I'm like, no whataboutism, because we need common sense gun laws no matter what. People are killing people in schools and stuff that's completely unrelated to that. That is still a bad thing. And it's often used as like, oh yeah, well, gangs kill people all the time. And it's like, sure, that's still bad. But the thing that I'm talking to you about is also still bad. And there's a consistent pattern of white violence with guns in this country that is documented, tracked. Like, you can't just say that I'm not going to talk about it because sometimes gangs happen. Like, no, you are using Black people as a scapegoat to cover a real problem that is a white problem that white people have, like, that we need to just solve.
Yeah.
That's where it was scratching at my false equivalency.
It's like people who are wrong can't stay on topic, typically. Like, that's what that's all whataboutism is. It's just people who are wrong and know they're wrong,
right,
but don't want to admit it because that's their tribe or whatever. They change the subject because they know they're wrong. Yeah, that's why I stopped talking to people online about it. Well, that and the death threats that I received.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, no, that's just you wanting to still act like white people are, air quotes, better by blaming other people without actually answering for things that we're doing.
Yeah, it's like general racism. Yeah.
Yes, it is racist.
I agree that the people who are saying it don't see it that way.
I don't care how they see it.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
What
like,
it is.
I don't care either. I'll call it what it is. Yeah.
Right. I don't care that they don't have the cultural literacy to understand that they're being racist. It's still racist.
There's a pretty big reason I don't talk to most of my extended family anymore. Like,
that makes sense.
It's along these lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But essentially, they take Jerome and hook him up to a bunch of Frankenstein machines and then put him in the sunken place.
Yeah.
To basically be like, what are you going to do for your community?
And Paige, the way he's dressed as they strap him into that is very for a reason.
Sure. Yes.
I mean, he is like nothing but like spandex, like underwear, more or less.
Right.
And literal like chains, not handcuffs. Chains. He looks like he's going to be auctioned in the slave South. Like, I think they did that on purpose.
Yes. Oh, I agree with you.
You know, obviously. Yeah. And I think like it makes that the imagery here so vivid and like, oh, I see what you're saying, guys. It's like very much that. Like, I see what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we get to the end where he essentially has like, because he's in like a sensory deprivation tank. It is basically the sunken place. And he's like, I don't care. I don't owe any of you anything. And it's like, no, you do, because there are threats outside the community. But that I'm like, it's not Black people's job to make white people stop killing people. Like, that's not, we're not doing that today. Right.
I think the point of view from that side is more, it's like we can break the cycle of violence that we are contributing to.
Yes.
And not that, you know, it's our community's responsibility to solve the white people who kill us.
Right. It's not.
But it's clearly not. Yeah. But I think that that's kind of the message. And yes.
What they're getting at.
Like, yeah, I kind of see that from the movie's perspective.
And it then flows directly into, we cut to what really happened. And the 3 gangsters killed him. The cops never came. He got shot. We see that those 3 gang members are the guys we've been following.
Yeah.
Just trying to get their drugs from this guy with the iguanas.
I thought it was a cool reveal. Yeah.
It was. But then he also was like, hey, by the way, I'll show you where your stuff is. Well, I'll show you where the stuff is.
Yeah. He's like, I'll go get to the shit right now.
And takes them down into the basement with a bunch of creepy books. And then he's like, it's all here. It's in the coffins. But then they go to open the coffins, and each coffin is their coffin.
Paige, I love how we got the coffin reveal, because it's 3 of the exact same beat.
Same
Everybody
coffin.
gets to open their coffin, see their body, and then they get a reaction shot. And we get 3 of them back to back, and that made me laugh. I thought it was so great.
Well, and he's like, after you guys killed Crazy K, his boys killed you, and I guess you didn't make it. And also, this isn't a funeral home. This is hell, motherfuckers!
Yes. And of course, it's Clarence Williams, so it's like way overacted and like it's so heightened. I love it so much.
Well, and he turns into like a giant devil bat.
Yeah.
And he's just like, ah ha ha. And that's the movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, Paige, what did you think about Tales from the Hood?
I actually really enjoyed this today. I had a good time. I feel like it's one of the better vignette movies we've watched on the show.
I agree, although I think people look down on vignette movies quite a bit.
They shouldn't. They can be good.
It definitely is worth watching, and I think this one is a good one, Paige. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But like I've heard people say negative things about like your VHSs and the Poughkeepsie tapes and stuff like that. I think it's largely because they are also how people break into the business, because they can be cheaper movies to produce. So like we get a lot of great directors who like first foray into feature film was a vignette movie.
Yes.
You know, so it's often someone's first movie too. So, but I think this movie is not that vibe at all. This feels like a well-funded, well-produced, well-written movie. Like it has a very clear point, and it's made from people who know how to make movies.
Here was my thinking on this, because we did a vignette month one time way back in the day, and then we hadn't done one really since. And there have been a handful of VHSs and whatever.
Yeah.
And some of them are good, some of them are not. I think this movie is a rarity in which almost all of the vignettes are great. They have full stories. They're fully formed. I think in part because this isn't by different directors. This is like one creative vision.
Yeah.
That is just broken up into vignettes. And I think that makes a difference. But I feel like we need to do some more vignettes in the coming months, because a lot of the people that do then become really good horror directors start in vignettes.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot cheaper to make a 10-minute short than it is to make a full movie.
Yeah, man.
And this is why when we watch stuff and we're like, this could have been a short film, sometimes a short film in a solid like set of vignettes can make your career. Like,
yeah,
that's a huge thing. So I'm going to do some digging around some of the VHS ones and maybe pick a few for some later months.
Yeah, cool.
Because I do want to do more vignettes. I like vignettes. I think it's an interesting way to kind of vibe with a movie, and it changes things up and it keeps the pacing going.
Yeah, it's a fun story dynamic, you know, or a storytelling dynamic, I should say. But this movie I think is definitely worth watching. I think it is made for a specific type of person, and I am that type of person. So like if you're not that kind of person, I can see why you wouldn't like this movie, but I kind of wish I had seen it a lot sooner. But I probably wouldn't have watched it in high school. Like I come to think of it, like I bet my friends in high school may have seen this movie, but I was just like, I don't want to watch it. It's a horror movie.
Sure.
Because that was like my default answer for everything. So like, I bet my friends who are listening to this from high school are like, no, I told you about this movie, you idiot. You just didn't want to watch it because you were a scaredy cat. And that's fair.
Yeah.
But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here it is with your fun facts. The Hood fun facts.
So this might be a corn fact, but it is listed here. Some of the dolls in the KKK comeuppance segment were later reused in Team America World Police.
Amazing.
Because not only were they stop motion, but they are puppeted. And allegedly, according to this fact, they were partially made by the Chiodo brothers, are the art team that worked on them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they do look good, and so do the dolls in Team America. So there you go.
And honestly, they like especially from a distance, like for Team America where they have like crowds and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, they definitely they have a similar look to them.
Yeah.
But the name Duke Metger is a combination of two notorious real life white supremacists, as we mentioned, former neo-Nazi / Klansman David Duke, and Klansman turned white Aryan resistance founder Tom Metzger.
Okay.
So, now this film was old enough to have come out on Laserdisc at one point.
Wow.
And the Laserdisc actually featured a commentary track by the director that was not carried over to the DVD release. However, if you buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray, my husband's a big fan of Scream Factory Blu-rays, they did restore that Laserdisc commentary track. So I actually am very curious.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear that too.
I would be really interested to hear that. So director Rusty Cundiff's real-life parents, John A. Cundiff and Christina Cundiff, appear in the third story of the film, KKK Comeuppance, with the former playing the priest. Rhodey is the name of the his like media trainer.
Oh, okay.
But so his father played the priest at Rhodey's funeral, and his mother played Miss Cobbs, the woman in the painting with the dolls.
That's cool.
This is great. Now, Tom Wright, who was in this movie, is also in Creepshow 2 and plays a ghost getting revenge on his killer, known as the Hitchhiker. I don't think we've done Creepshow 2, have we?
We've done Creepshow 1, I believe. I don't think we've done 2.
That's one that, because I was trying to think if we had done all the Creepshows, so that might have to be one of our next vignettes.
Yeah.
Joe Torre, Paula Jai Parker, and Rusty Cundiff from the second story all played in Sprung together later this decade in 1997 with Tisha Campbell. So again, as the like credits go, there's a lot of like familiar names of familiar faces, and it's because these people would go on to be in everything in the 90s.
Yeah.
Clarence Williams III starred in a season 4 episode of Tales from the Crypt in 1989, the show on which this film is based, called Maniac at Large. So this is like meant to be like a Tales from the Crypt, although I do think it does its vignettes better, and B, it is more of like a whole movie with like a tying a bow on your metaphor at the end.
I mean, it kind of ties a lot of the stories together at the end because of the reveal of the 3 drug dealers that are at the funeral home are the ones who shot the guy from one of the other vignettes.
Right.
So yeah.
Crazy K's repeated line of "I don't give a fuck" is sampled in the DMX song "Where My Dog's At" from the album It's Dark and Hell Is Hot.
Nice. Okay.
Which I do love that song. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it and listen for that sample now. This film was featured in an article on shocktillyouDrop.com featuring films released in the summer every year since 1979. The article became popular enough that it led the producer of the film, Darren Scott, to give his thanks and praise to the article and its writer publicly. So I think that helped people kind of make this into the cult classic it is today.
That's awesome.
The line, "talk about some insane in the membrane" type shit, is a reference to the Cypress Hill song "Insane in the Brain."
It's gotta be, man. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nobody said that before that song, and then everybody said that after that song.
Yes. So funeral director Clarence Williams III, who has been in a million things, in this movie says he's not a drug dealer. However, Clarence Williams III later played drug lord Samson Simpson in Half-Baked only a few years later.
Nice. A very different movie.
A very different movie. But those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Tales from the Hood in 1995?
I think this actually had a pretty low budget because I would imagine they had to fund a lot of it themselves. So I'm going to say this was $5 million.
Oh, Paige, you're so close.
Ooh.
It's $6 million. Yeah.
Yes.
And I assume that's why they could only shoot in half of the funeral home from
right.
From 6 feet under. But yeah, I mean, most of the movie takes place. Actually, there are quite a few locations. They do a good job with the budget they have. And if you adjust it for inflation, that's like 12.5 to 12.6 today. So that's not a super or ultra low budget, but that's still a low budget for I think what we get on the screen. Now, Paige,
yes.
This movie came out on May 26th, 1995, and it was 9th in the theaters when it came out. The number 1 movie that week was Casper, and it was released that same week. Number 2 was Die Hard with a Vengeance. Number 3 was Braveheart, and that was its release day. So Casper beat Braveheart. Thought that was interesting.
That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Kids.
Because, yeah, kids. Yeah. But, I mean, Braveheart was a smash. Anyway, but Crimson Tide was number 4, which was also a pretty big hit. And then Forget Paris, which I did, was 5th. Interestingly enough, Paige, Johnny Mnemonic was 6th. While You Were Sleeping was 8th. And Tales from the Hood, of course, was 9th. Now, Paige, it's not going to be a crazy number, but I want to help you out because it's higher than I would have expected if I told you a movie was in 9th in the box office the week it came out.
Yes.
But what do you think it made in the box office that weekend? And do factor in it's the 90s. So like,
right.
Because Reaganomics hadn't fully destroyed the country's economy yet, it was more money. Like when I adjust for inflation, you're going to gasp.
1.8 million.
Paige, it was better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's why I was like, it did really well for it being 9th.
My other guess was 2.1.
And you would have been still almost off by half. So it's 3.8.
Okay. Wow, that was a big weekend.
Yes, it was. Like for the 9th place movie to still bring in almost $4 million, that's crazy. Also, guys, it was only in 862 theaters, whereas like Casper was in 2,714 theaters. So like it had a pretty good per theater average too, which is good. Anyway, so it brought in $4 million in its opening week. It was in theaters for a total of like 13 weeks, but it was only in the top 10 for its first 2 though. And then it fell out of the top 10 and was, in the teens for a while and then fell kind of out after 13 weeks. But Paige, what do you think it made domestically in the box office? And it did not get an international release. So this is worldwide too.
Domestically, I'm going to say it makes $8.6 million.
Paige, it did a little bit better.
Oh, good.
It made $11.7 million.
Nice.
Which they didn't spend a lot of money on their marketing.
2x.
Yeah, they made their money back.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's almost 2x, which is like the threshold for that.
Right.
But yeah, so if you adjust for inflation, that $11.7 million is $24.8 million, which is literally over doubling of what the dollar used to be worth in that amount of time, which is nuts to me. But they did all right for a $6 million budget in the 90s, talking about the things this movie's focusing on. Like, I think they did a good job, bringing in that money. Like, good for them. Anyway, that's your box office. Paige, do you want to hit us with that scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how scary we found the film when we watched it today. with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
If you're talking about how scary the movie was, I'm going to say a 1. If you're talking about how scared I am to talk about this movie because of the complex social nature of it and me knowing I am an idiot and should not have a plausible take on anything, it was like a 7 for me. But largely because we do this, you know?
Right. I'm going to say it's a 1 for me, but I enjoyed it a lot. So like,
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think people should watch it. Like, it's a good movie. It's also not scary. So if you're like into social commentary movies like a Get Out, it's not as scary as Get Out.
No.
And it's like talking about the same things. Like, you'll probably really like it. I did.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like what fun double features would be, but also the like mortician parts of it are goofy enough that I'm like, this would just be fun to watch for Halloween one year.
Give me that camp, baby. Like, I love camp. And so when he was like just chewing scenery, I was like, yes.
I was here for it.
He felt so much, and it's a different
Up to
actor.
your knees in it.
Yes. When he said that, I was like, I was transported to the first time I saw the guy in The Wizard say, "Can you dig it?" Like over like pronounced and stuff. I was like, yes, I'm here for this vibe. I just love that shit. Anyway, but that's specifically like, I get that I'm weird like that. Like, that's not a super common thing. But anyway, I dug it.
Yeah, and 1 for me. So that's your scary scale.
All right. Well, Paige, this week you made us watch Tales from the Hood. What are we going to watch next week as we continue Black History Month?
Because football is coming up and also Black Horror Month, and this is a new release that we did not do while it was in theaters, we're going to be doing Him.
That's right. So your homework next week is to watch the movie Him and then report back for that episode.
Correct. Hey, Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. I'm actually going to read a few Spotify comments just because I liked them.
Go for it.
And that was our most recent episode, obviously. So I'm going to read, first off, Ruth's, and I'm assuming she's from the UK or just smarter than we are, Paige, because I'm assuming she says, "You do realize Jimmy looks like Jimmy Savile, right?" And no, I didn't.
We don't, because we're Americans. We didn't know until the news told us this week.
Yeah. And Paige, I should have known that because I have watched a documentary on it. And when I read that, I was like, oh, shit, of course they're right. That is exactly what they're calling out there, but I missed it. I did. I totally missed it.
I fell down a rabbit hole on Threads about this because I did not catch that the first time or the second time, because that was not a part of our young people. We have no idea what he looks like unless you saw the documentary. But then on Threads, what was really crazy is they're like, actually, if you look at 28 years later and the timeline, it means that they quarantined that island before Jimmy Savile's crimes came out.
No, they didn't know.
So anyone living on the island has no idea.
Yeah, they're like, you guys remember the good old days with Jimmy Savile?
Right.
Because they didn't know he was a monster yet.
And they're like, Jim will fix it. And by it, I mean the zombies.
Yeah, the documentary is hard to watch because like he more or less just like gets away with everything. I hated it.
Very hard to watch.
But I mean, it's like, watch it. It's a really good documentary, but it's hard to watch. I also do want to read this person, and normally I only give people's first names, but I'm going to read this full government name because it made me laugh.
Okay.
Their name is Booger Bear.
Great.
And they say, "We need more details about Paige's parents being in the Illuminati." Illuminati. I'll see myself out.
Wait, why are my parents in the Illuminati?
I don't know, but I kind of want there to be an Illuminati where everyone dresses like David Bowie, and that's like the secret society your parents and us are involved in. The Illuminati.
That makes sense.
Which I say, and I fully know Natalie edited out my stumble and then is now having to edit it back in. And babe, I'm so sorry, and leave this in too. I'm so sorry. I publicly apologize to you, my wife, whom I love.
I'm trying to remember what we said about my parents about to figure out how they're in the Illuminati.
That, to be fair, was on the Conjuring Last Rites episode. So it wasn't on the 28 years later episode. But if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast. Some might call it a sister podcast called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back, and I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout-outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah. Have an amazing week, guys. Bye. This movie's full of commentary nerds.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.